All right, so let's move on to week 5 matchups, Derek. What do you got? Which game are we starting on?
I guess we can start on the Ole Miss Kentucky game. We can just see what's going on there, man. Because here's the thing: Kentucky looks sharp. It looked sharp on defense against Georgia. Their run game's great. But you know what? That our offense by Ole Miss, the passing
Mm-hmm.
game is just going to dominate Kentucky, and that run is not going to keep up. They have a great run. I think Kentucky has a really good run team, but that's all they got. They can't pass, so all they're going
Yeah.
to do is just stack the middle on Kentucky and just play that way all day. Well, Ole Miss can actually do short, long passes, and once in a while run too to change things up, and that's something Kentucky can't do. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I understand Ole Miss is a 17.5 point favorite, but I
Yep.
see Ole Miss winning by 24.
Yeah, I see something similar, but I think that's what's going to happen. What you just said, I think that's probably more likely to happen. But I wouldn't be surprised if for whatever reason Kentucky comes out swinging and Ole Miss looks to be struggling. Kentucky is capable of putting together a defense that can give Ole Miss some fits, but then at the same time, it's more likely that Ole Miss is just going to roll over them because they just have more talent. It's one of those games that I just kind of want to see. I want to make sure that Ole Miss takes care of business, you know? Um,
Hmm.
because I'm curious. This is going to be the first real defense that Ole Miss is going to face. So I'm just kind of
Yeah,
curious. Are they going to roll like they're supposed to? But yeah, I agree with you. I see it about 20 something points, maybe even more. Um, you know, I mean, anything could happen in this. I wouldn't really be surprised with a lot of different outcomes. I'm just curious to see which one actually happens.
yeah.
All right.
So let's continue on. What game do you want to look at now?
Okay.
What's
Uh,
your pick?
all right. I'll look at the Oklahoma State. Let's look at the Oklahoma State Kansas State game. Um,
Good pick. Yeah.
yeah, Kansas
Go.
State BYU made them look really bad. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how accurate that is. I sometimes just there's a bad matchup. You just and it they a team will look worse than they really are. Both of
Hmm.
these teams need to rebound, so that will be interesting. I I
Yeah.
gotta say Oklahoma State um, on this one. I normally would take
Yeah.
the home team, but Kansas State looked really bad against BYU. Oklahoma State had some fight in them at the end of their game that made me see that this team doesn't quit until
Yeah.
the game is over, and because of that, I think Oklahoma State is going to finish this game on top.
Yeah.
I don't know how by how much.
Well,
I just think that they're going to win.
yeah. So here's the thing. Here's the thing about your take, and I agree with you at some point. You know, Oklahoma State, I really think will beat Kansas State. I see the 4.5 spread against Kansas State, but I don't see it if it was playing Oklahoma State. But now
Mm-hmm.
I see the 4.5 against Kansas State. And I would actually take the under on that. I would actually do the plus 4.5 because I think it'll be a lot closer game. I think
Mm.
definitely not going to be Kansas State's not going to score over 5 points. Not happen. But I do think Kansas State does take the win because they got the home crowd in Manhattan, and when you're at Manhattan, you're on that turf. The crowd's roaring. Oklahoma
Yeah.
State has to deal with that noise, and they got to do something about it. And I think Kansas State goes on top 3-3 against
Okay.
Oklahoma State.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so
got the Oklahoma State money line, and then you were also saying that you like plus points Oklahoma State or plus points Oklahoma State. That's right. And then you
yeah.
like the under as well.
Yeah,
Under
I think it's
54 and a half.
yeah, I think it'd be under, but I could be
Okay.
wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like me with USC, huh?
Mhm. Now you
Yeah.
said BYU did something against Kansas State. Let's talk about
Mhm.
them. They're playing Baylor.
They're
They're
going
ranked
to
number
Baylor.
22. Now Kansas State's 23, Oklahoma's 20, but BYU's undefeated. They're at 22. That was a shock seeing them beat Kansas State. I did not see that happening.
Yeah.
But but they're playing Baylor,
Mhm.
the Baylor team that lost to Texas State last year. Okay, I don't see
Yeah.
BYU losing that game. I it, it,
I don't
uh,
either.
uh, but I don't understand. I know they're in Waco. I know they're in Waco. 3.5 point spread. I just don't see it. I see BYU winning. I do believe I see it over on that 45.5 point spread. 45 and a half points, total points. I do see the over. I think BYU scores a lot more points than Baylor.
Mhm.
Uh, I'm probably saying 30-17 is what I'm seeing, somewhere around that
Okay.
range.
Um I don't know about specific scores. Sometimes I it's hard to do that, but I'm just gonna say that I agree with you 100% that BYU is gonna win this game, and I think that they may win by a good amount. I could see them winning
Mhm.
by 2 scores. I don't know why Baylor's here we're gonna jinx them, but I don't just looking at this. I don't know why Baylor's favored. I guess it's just because they're at home. The way they collapsed against Colorado told me a lot about that team. And yeah, I think BYU comes in and takes care of business. So
Yeah.
money line. I don't know by how
Mhm.
much. I could see it happening by 2 scores. I could see it by 1 score, but I think that BYU just comes in and they're going to win that football game.
Yeah. All right. What do you think of that USC Wisconsin game? You think USC beats Wisconsin? You think USC is
Yes.
strong as they should be? All right. Why
Wisconsin is
why do you
just
think that?
missing. They're missing some parts. Um,
Hmm.
I don't think their quarterback is going to be back in this one, is he?
Yeah, I don't see it. But you said in the beginning they were deciding on both with quarterbacks, so you know, um, I mean clearly the backup won because the starting quarterback got injured. And that was a shame because I really want to see Alabama, Wisconsin with that quarterback, and it didn't turn out that way. We'll never know how that game would have really ended. I mean, I
Yeah, it
think
says
Alabama
that he
would
has a
have,
torn ACL,
yeah,
so
yeah.
he's out.
I think
Yeah.
yeah, I think Alabama would eventually won that game still,
Oh
but
yeah, yeah. I agree.
Wisconsin,
I agree. Yeah.
but with USC, I do see it happening. They didn't show up well against Michigan, but Michigan is not Wisconsin. Wisconsin's not Michigan, and I see USC winning against Wisconsin for the
Yeah.
15.5 point spread. I think it's just slightly under that. I think they win by 14, 2 touchdowns. Um, yeah, that's what I'm going on.
Yeah, that's a
What's
lot
your
of
take on this?
points. Um,
Mhm,
let's see here. So Wisconsin had a bye. It looks like
mhm.
over this weekend. That's interesting. Um, God, I didn't want to say this, but I'm going to say it. I think Wisconsin's going to beat the spread. Um,
Mhm.
I don't know if they have enough to win because I think USC is looking for vengeance from last week. They really need a
Yeah.
win. They're going to come back swinging, and Wisconsin's going to pull a classic Wisconsin as they're in the game in the fourth quarter, and they're going to lose it. So, but I think it's going to be closer. I do think that I think they have a chance, a more than likely chance to beat the spread. So
Yeah.
at first glance, I didn't think so, but now the more that I'm looking at it and I see that buy in there, um, I think that they have a better chance than people might think.
Mhm. Yeah. No, speaking of a matchup, they had to put it on the stupid
Hmm.
Peacock channel. I mean, not everybody has Peacock. I'm going to have to watch this on those one of those YouTube clips where they cut off key moments, but they try to get the whole clip in. That's how I'm going to be able to watch this game. But it's Notre Dame, Louisville, 16 versus 15 at Notre
Hmm.
Dame. This is a fun game. This shows how well ACC is, how well Louisville really is. Because
Yep.
if Louisville loses this game, and then they
Hmm.
go on to beat Miami,
Yep.
how really good is
It's the
Miami?
AC,
You
the
know,
ACC too.
yeah, and because Florida State, they're nowhere near. I knew they were going to be that great. You know,
Right.
that court. I'll say this again and again and again. Florida State head coach getting fired this year. I don't care. I don't care what he did last year. He's getting
Mm.
fired. But Notre Dame, Louisville, that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about Florida State. We're not talking about Miami. We're talking about Notre
No.
Dame, Louisville, and there's a 6.5 point favorite Notre Dame because they're at home. It makes a lot of sense. Crowd's going to be loud. You might actually see what's his name from the movie Wedding Crashers. What's his name? He's a big Notre Dame fan. He was on Rudy. He was one of the Notre Dame players on Rudy. He's a big Notre Dame fan. I can't think of his name. He's a movie star, but he's probably going to be there. He's probably going to be on the grounds with his field pass going crazy, against Louisville. But I do see Notre Dame winning that game. I think Notre
Okay.
Dame's stronger. So when Notre Dame goes on to play Navy, and I think a week or 2 weeks from now, or so, I'm not sure exactly what happened. And Navy pulls off a win against Notre Dame after they beat number 15 Louisville,
Yeah.
it's going to be big for Navy. Navy's going to boost up in the rankings because of that. They actually got one receiving vote in the AP polls right now. So
Okay.
yeah, I see it happening.
So you're taking Notre Dame.
Yes, I am.
Okay. This this is an interesting. Do you think they beat the spread?
Um, I think once them beat the spread, I don't see it happening. But if they do, it makes Navy's case a little bit better if they win.
Yeah. Okay. This game is really interesting because if Louisville does win, Notre Dame's out of the playoff picture for good, pretty much. I don't think that
Mhm.
Notre Dame can get in with two losses. Um,
Yeah.
that so there will still be a slightly cracked door open for Notre Dame if they lose this game, but this pretty much you know pushes you out if you lose this game. So and then also if Louisville wins this game, that could also set up two ACC teams to get in potentially. Um,
Hmm.
maybe even three. Sorry, not four, three. But it could definitely push two ACC teams in, which would be very interesting. So, do I think it happens? Do I think that Louisville pushes Notre Dame out and also adds another ACC team to the conversation? No.
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 I want to be.
Um.
I know it could be proven wrong, so you never know. That quarterback is pretty hot. I mean, at
Yeah.
850 yards,
Easy now, Derek. Don't be calling other
he's
quarterbacks hot now. Just kidding.
we've
Uh, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I don't think that Louisville's gonna do it. I think Notre Dame again. I think they have their back against the wall. They cannot lose this game, and they know it. And after that disaster performance in front of their crowd, um, let's see, who did they play last week again? I'm blanking. Um, okay, so they did have another game at home since then. Okay, I was gonna say the last game was the disaster against Northern Illinois, but still, I think that they wanna show that crowd that they're sorry for that loss against Northern Illinois, and I think they come out swinging. And I wouldn't be surprised if Notre Dame beats the spread. But this could also be a really ugly game. Notre Dame's offense is atrocious at times. So
mm,
we'll just
well
we'll
they
just have to see. But yeah. What?
Well, after this game, they have a bye week, so they're off next week, and then they come back in Stanford. And I was
Yeah.
wrong. It'll be 4 weeks from now. They'll play Navy, and that's marked on my calendar. Love to see a midshipman go in there and beat Notre Dame. So yeah.
Hmm.
So our next game that we should talk about. I mean OU's defense against Auburn. What do you think? What do you think about that game? They're a
Man,
two and
dude,
a half point spread.
this one will say, so if Auburn wins this game, that will be there's going to be a lot of speculation going around of how good is Tennessee. If Auburn
Hmm.
wins this game, there's going to be a bunch of controversy in the ACC or in the SEC. So, can they do it?
Yeah.
um, dude, I don't know what it is. I feel like Auburn's going to win this game. It's really weird. My gut is saying Auburn's going to win this game. I have a feeling that Auburn's really pissed, and Hugh Freeze is getting it. And he's saying crazy stuff in the media right now. He's throwing players under the bus. He's saying that he would beat Arkansas the next 9-10 or the next 9 times if they played him again. He's making just weird comments out there. He's trying to rile up his fan base to say, hey, enough is enough. We need to come out and this team, they have some problems, but I don't know what he's trying to say. It's really weird. He's like saying we'll beat Arkansas 9 out of the 9 or 9 more times if we played him, but he's saying that he can't find a quarterback that won't throw a pick. But I do think that, I guess what I'm trying to get at is there's something about what's going on in Auburn that screams upset alert. And
Mhm.
OU is probably really beat up from that game against Tennessee. They lost in front of their crowd, and now they have to go on the road to Auburn. I think that Auburn is going to get their home crowd again because this is going to be a big game, so it's going to draw a crowd. And it Auburn was rocking against Arkansas. If they can have that crowd rocking against OU and get just a little bit of offense going, and Hugh Freeze can do it. They're really weird. Auburn will have these big plays randomly. They can do it. Their defense should be good enough to hold Oklahoma's offense. I see an upset here. I'm taking the War Eagles. I'm going War Eagle
All
on this
right.
one, and I see an upset here.
Okay. I get your point. OU does not great at quarterback like Auburn has their quarterback. They have more passing yards than his quarterback, Auburn. They got more rushing yards, Auburn. They got more
Mm-hmm.
receiving yards for their receiver, Auburn. Well, that's great. I mean, they're leading all those three categories against Oklahoma. But you know what?
I know what
You
you're gonna
know what?
say. I know what you're gonna say.
California. California. Auburn lost to Cal. I know Oklahoma struggled against Houston, but they didn't lose to Houston. Cal beat Auburn. And you know what? They also lost another game. I can't go back that far to see what happened there. But all I know is Arkansas. That's right. They lost to Arkansas. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Arkansas is actually a pretty good team. I really do think they're really good. I think they have potential to make the playoffs if they do things right. But I believe
Wait,
Oklahoma's
what?
defense. No,
Really?
I believe Arkansas does have a chance to make the playoffs. I really do think they have a
Oh.
good team. They just need to capitalize on their wins. If they
Well,
don't
I
capitalize on wins,
appreciate it. I just was
yeah.
not expecting that. I thought that you were being sarcastic or something. I was like,
No,
what?
no, no, I'm not. I'm being 100% true on that. But I
Hmm.
think
Okay.
Auburn has all those, but that key loss, and Oklahoma's only loss is against Tennessee. Who they actually gave Tennessee a hard time on offense that should have scored a lot more points. Auburn is not going to be able to handle that Oklahoma defense. That defense is going to be what keeps Oklahoma in this game. they're going to be the one that intercepts uh, the quarterback for Auburn. They're going to be the one that forces a
Yeah,
fumble.
the
Uh,
two
uh,
quarterbacks for Auburn that will be in the game.
yeah, they're going to force a fumble on that running back or the
Yep.
quarterback. You never know.
Yep.
I see they're too strong. I think they're going to get good possession. I think Auburn leads in total yards, but I think the defense comes out strong for Oklahoma. I think the 2 point spread is perfect. I think Oklahoma wins by 3.
Okay. Yeah, no, I get it. I'm not mad at that pick.
Mhm.
I get it. There's just I just have a feeling I think Auburn is going to be rocking, and I think they're going to take care of business. Regardless, I think it's going to be a really good game, and it's going to tell a lot about both teams. But
Mhm.
okay, all right,
Yeah.
interesting.
Speaking of, speaking of, guess who's playing at 2:30 p.m. on ESPN?
Hmm.
Texas A&M, Arkansas. Arkansas goes to Arlington, home of the Cowboys, baby. How about them Cowboys? They suck this year, by the way. Suck. It's early. We'll never know. But
Hmm.
my point is, Texas A&M Arkansas, Texas A&M's number 24. Arkansas is not ranked, but they both have losses. Arkansas lost to Oklahoma State. That should have been their game. They should be undefeated right now. They should be
Hmm.
strong. They should be ranked. They should be ranked higher than Texas A&M. They're playing better than Texas A&M. You're leading in all the categories, just like Auburn's leading all the categories of Oklahoma. But the difference is Texas A&M doesn't have a strong defense, and Oklahoma. Arkansas actually has a team that can do well. Yes, your quarterback, they might say he's like the VY. Well, guess what? No one's Vince Young, buddy. No one's Vince Young. I'm sorry. Green is not Vince Young. If he was Vince Young, he would have found a way to win against Oklahoma State, but he
I
didn't.
agree.
That's why. Okay. Uh, uh, but I see Texas A&M losing to Arkansas. I do see them. Well, obviously the -4 is going to be a +4 Arkansas, so I see that winning. I see it being a high scoring game. I see the over on the 52.5. That's my take. So what's your take?
So for me as an Arkansas fan that's trying to stay neutral in these picks and, just
Last
seeing
time you
everything.
stood neutral. No, 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 no. Last time you stood neutral and you didn't go with your team won. So you know what? Go against your team. It seems to work that way.
With this game, A&M has beaten Arkansas in so many heartbreaking endings where Arkansas has been up in the second half of so many games that I've seen and does not finish. I really wanted to see Arkansas in a one-score finish and Auburn winning. Instead, Arkansas won by 2 scores. I have not seen this team close a one-score victory yet. They had a chance against Oklahoma State, and Oklahoma State beat them in a one-score, which would be a loss to Arkansas. So a one-score loss to Arkansas against Oklahoma State. I think this is going to be a one-score game, or at least that it's very likely to. And until I see Arkansas win a one-score game, if I have the feeling it's going to be a one-score game finish, I'm taking the other team. So unfortunately, I've got to take A&M in this one. A&M seems to be able to finish this game every time, whether it's Arkansas hits a field goal at the top of the upright to win the game and loses. They dive for dive for the end zone and fumble it on a 100-yard recovery by A&M, scoop and score. Um, Arkansas is up by 10 in third quarter, and then we have a holding nowhere near the play, completely changes the momentum. I have seen it all. I've seen overtimes go A&M's way. A&M in this building, whatever it is at the end of the game, they always are able to close it out. So until I see it, I agreed with what you said. I think Arkansas is a more complete team. I've watched A&M. I've watched Arkansas. I think Taylon Green and Reed for A&M, the quarterback of A&M, Reed, I think, is very similar to Taylon Green. I think Taylon Green is a little bit better just because of experience, and I think that Taylon Green is a bigger threat on the run. I think he's more dynamic on the run. I think Reed can throw a little bit better. Um, and I think that Arkansas's defense overall is better. I think there's parts of A&M's defense that's better, but overall, I think Arkansas does have a better defense, and I think that the Arkansas's offense is much more dynamic than A. It's going to be too dynamic for A&M's defense to handle, and I think that Arkansas should be able to prepare for A&M's boring offense. Um,
Hmm.
Arkansas should win. What I'm saying is Arkansas should win this game. I think they're a better team. The problem is, will Arkansas win the game? They just don't close out this game against A&M. So again, I've got to say until I see it, I'm going to take the Aggies in this one, and it really sucks to say it. But hey, like you said, maybe me picking against my team is the way to go on this. Maybe it's they like proving me wrong. So
Hmm.
uh, I
Hmm.
got to take I
Okay.
got to take the Aggies, but I'm going to take them by 3. So I've got Arkansas +4, but not Arkansas money line.
No, 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 no. Here's your point. You're over. I like your take, but my point is you want to see a close game. This is college football. We're not in the NFL. If you're going to play a team like Texas A&M, you want to shoot them out. You want to make them look bad. You want to beat every team you face and knock them out and smash their mouth
Yeah.
in. That's what you want to do. I think Arkansas should do that. It creates motivation leading on to the next game, the next game. Guess what? If they smash mouth on number 24 Texas A&M, how much confidence boost is that going to give them compared to, oh, we barely
So
won,
I'll say
to a
this to
24
that.
team?
I'll say this to that. I think Arkansas has a 2-score lead at near the beginning or around halftime ish. I think that they get ahead by 2 scores. My concern is keeping it. I just
Well,
what it's weird in these games. It was 2 years ago that they were up 14-0 and they were about to go up 21-0, and KJ Jefferson dove for the end zone, fumbled the football at the half yard line. A&M scooped and scored for a touchdown, and now it's 14-7 instead of 21-0. And then A&M
yeah.
won that game with Arkansas missing a field goal at the end of the game that hit the top of the upright post when they were down by 2. That's just the luck
All
that
right.
Arkansas has in that arena. So we'll see. But yeah, I think that we will be up by 2, or Arkansas will be up by 2 scores at some point in that game. It's just a matter of keeping that. So
Yeah. All right. All right.
all right. But yeah, I've got
Okay.
plus four Arkansas. You've got money line Arkansas.
Take this real quick. Do you really think Michigan State has a chance against Ohio State?
No.
No. So we're just gonna put it as this. Ohio State dominates Michigan State by
Yeah.
more than minus 24. It's done. We don't even need to
Yep.
talk about
Done.
that game. Their defense
No.
just
Wrap
got
it
off
up.
the shot. That's what we're wrapping up on that one. We got Clemson. We got Stanford. 2-1 Clemson. 2-1
Clemson. Wrap
Stanford.
it up. Clemson. Wrap it up.
Yeah, Clemson. You got Iowa State, Houston. Really? Really?
Yeah. Iowa
Iowa
State.
State,
Wrap it up.
Houston? Now we get to the real game.
Okay.
Georgia and Alabama. Number 2 versus number 4 in
Can I
Tuscaloosa.
start out with this one? Can I start out with this
Go
one?
ahead. Take
All
it
right.
away.
Okay. So last year, um, I started watching a lot of Washington games and started hyping up Penix, hyping up just the coach of Washington. A lot of people gave me flack for that for a while, saying they were overrated, they weren't very good. I thought that with what Washington had and what DeBoer was able to do with that team was incredible. He has beaten Coach Sarkisian twice now in a row. Beat him the year before, and he beat him in the playoff. He's a really good coach, and when Saban left, one of my 2 picks for Alabama to pick up a coach were Kiffin, as most people thought. The other one was DeBoer. And when they got DeBoer, I was shocked that people still were sleeping on Bama and not picking them to be very good in the SEC. Nobody's talking about Alabama in the SEC championship. It's Georgia and Texas. I think that Alabama at home with Kalen DeBoer, they win this football game. I'm taking Alabama in this, and I think this is going to be a wake up call for Georgia, and this is going to make that Georgia Texas game really, really interesting. So I'm taking DeBoer on this one. Alabama's got a long road ahead, and this is just the beginning. They have to win this one at home. Their back is against the wall. They take this one home with a victory.
All right. All right. You're good with that. Uh, there is this one guy called Milroy who seems
Milrow?
to,
You
yeah,
talking about Milrow?
Milroy,
Milrow.
Milrow, okay. He did great against Georgia in the championship. I mean, that was a performance of a lifetime for him. They got his team in the playoffs. They almost beat Michigan, who went on to win the championship.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, but guess who has salt in their mouth now? Guess who didn't make the playoffs because of Alabama, because of Milroy? Milroy, I don't care how you
Milrow.
pronounce it.
Milrow.
Milrow.
It's all
Guess
good.
who's salty? Georgia is.
I get
Georgia's
it.
salty. They want to beat them down at their own house and shut them up like Texas did. That's what they want to do. And you know what? I don't think they're going to show them up like Texas did last year, but I do think they're going to win. I think Carson Beck, who is the better quarterback, I think he's going to go in there. He's going to show what's up. He's going to wash that Kentucky game behind, and he's going to smash mouth Alabama left and right. I don't see one interception by Alabama. I see Carson Beck playing a perfect game
By Georgia.
that
Are you saying
but
you don't think Georgia's not going to throw an interception? Is what you're saying, right?
yeah, I say Georgia's not throwing. Beck is the quarterback for Georgia. I'm
Yeah.
saying Beck will not throw an interception. Now, if they give a running back and the running back passes and throws the interception, yeah, that could happen. But I don't see Beck throwing an interception. And
Okay.
there will be there's going to be trick plays like that. I really see a toss to the running back, pass to Beck. I see that happening because this is the type of game where you throw all your tricks and treats out. And yeah, they won't throw them all out because they want to see something Texas, but they're going to definitely do it with Alabama because they got salt in their mouth. They want to punch that mouth into Alabama and win that game.
All
They want
right.
revenge. That's why Georgia wins this game, and they
Yep.
win it by 7.
Okay. Okay. So they're beating the spread, and then I got Alabama money line. I mean, I could see
Mhm.
your point makes sense. So
Yeah.
we'll just have to see. Because this is a big game for Georgia, like you said too. I just think that it's
Mhm.
slightly bigger for Alabama because of the road that they have ahead. And we went over a little bit of their schedule. If Alabama drops this, they're in pretty big they're in big trouble. So the
Alright.
same thing with Georgia.
Yeah.
Georgia may be in trouble too. I guess it means something to both. I'm just going to take the home team. If this was at Georgia, I would take
Mhm.
Georgia. But I think DeBoer prepares for those boys, and he gives Stoops a call and say, "Hey, how did you prevent them from scoring? How'd you keep them under 20 points? What'd you do?" So
Alright.
anyway,
Let's talk about the Penn State Illinois game. Okay.
yep, we'll end on this
Penn
one
State's weak. You said Penn State's weak. There's no way they're going to get in the playoffs, this and that. They're playing number 19 Illinois, who's undefeated. Yeah. What
at
is your
home.
talk? You talk about Penn State. Now prove it.
Hmm.
Go ahead and take it. Go ahead and take it, Ross.
Well,
Take
I'll
this
I'll
game.
say this. I don't consider Illinois a huge win. I'll say that it's a nice win, but that's not a win that I'd be like, trying to secure a playoff spot and say, "Hey, I look, we beat Illinois at home."
Hmm.
It this is a game you should win. If you're a playoff contender, you should 100% win this. I mean, the line is 19. I'm not sure. That does seem like a little high of a line. I don't think it's going to be that bad. Illinois is not bad, but this is a game that State should win. So for me, I'm going to take plus 19 Illinois, but I do think that Penn State will win this game. It will be interesting how much they win by, but if they do lose this game, uh, do not put these boys in the playoff. So
Hmm.
that's my
Yeah.
take on this.
All right. I'll let you know what my take is. Didn't we talk about Illinois going into Nebraska and beating them?
Did we
Did
talk
we?
about
I thought,
Nebraska's
yeah,
record against top 25 teams?
yeah. Well, I understand, but did you see the defense that was going on with Illinois? How well their defense is? Yeah, they beat Kansas, who's not so hot as they were number 19. They beat
Yeah.
Kansas. Kansas not that hot, but I think they learned. They went to Central Michigan. They got a 39 win. They got some motivation in them. Then they went to well, they were home at that game. Then they went to Nebraska. You
Mm-hmm.
know, beating that game 31-24. Their defense is the reason why they won that game.
Yeah.
It's not their
100%.
offense, it's their defense. I
Yep.
think their defense puts a fight against Penn State. But I believe Penn State does win this game. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't think the 19 points is justified. I think it's a lot lower game. I think it's a lot closer game because I think Illinois is actually a contender to be a
Don't say it.
pretty good
Don't say it.
a pretty good Big Ten team that can that can ruin people's playoffs hopes in
Okay.
this Big
Okay.
Ten. I'm not saying they're going to make the playoffs.
I know. I know. I thought I was like, don't
I think,
say it.
I think they're playoff busters. I think they're going
Okay.
bust team, but I don't see them doing it to Penn State. I think they put them down in a pedigree. But Illinois strength, they'll lose to Penn State, but they'll only lose by 7. I think that's a 7-point loss. I think Penn State wins by 7. Uh, but yeah, that's my take on that one. Penn State goes
Okay.
on to win it by 7. That's how I see it.
All right.
But
I can
yeah,
see that happening.
oh
So we
yeah,
both have Illinois beating the spread.
hmm, that's correct.
All right.
So we got okay. Here's the interesting thing.
Mm-hmm.
Washington State plays Boise State. They're undefeated. Washington State has to make a big move because they're not
Ooh, this is a good matchup. Yeah.
their conference doesn't qualify for a G5 position
Mm-hmm.
because they have to have, I think it was a rule, you have to have like 8 teams in the conference to qualify for a G5 spot or the top 4 conference spot. But they don't. So they have to go with the consensus. So they have to start winning. I think
Yeah.
being Boise State gets them on the path. Boise State is 7.5 point spread. Boise State did play a good game against Oregon, so they're going to be a pretty tough team.
Yeah.
But Washington State, they beat Portland State. So who the hell Portland State is 70-30. They beat Tech 37-16. They beat Washington 24-19. And they beat this one hurts them. San Jose State 54-52. So they got to do something against Boise State. And that San Jose State game says a lot right there. And I don't see them winning against Boise State. Well, if they can go in there
Yeah.
and beat Boise State, not just beat them, but beat them convincingly, and
Yeah.
and I'm telling you, this doesn't happen. I think they got a shot to actually put a voice out there
Mm-hmm.
because they still got teams like for one Hawaii. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Hawaii's 2-2. All right, you're thinking why Hawaii? What's wrong? What the hell you talk about Hawaii? Okay. Hawaii is a motivation one. It gets a lot of points. You beat the crap out of Hawaii, you get your motivation, your team, and you're doing well. It continues that trend to beat the snot of every other team, and
Mm-hmm.
even Oregon State. You beat Oregon State, who got beat up by Oregon. Now it puts you in the picture like, okay, maybe the playoff committee might want to put a one defeated Washington team in the playoffs and have
No.
one Pac-12 team in the
No.
consensus. I see it happening. I do see it happening. If you punch these teams and you win by 40 respectfully, you beat Boise State by 30, you start clicking, it can happen. Do I see that happening? No. I do see Boise State winning the game. and their all hopes runs out when they play Boise State and Washington loses one, and that kills their playoff hopes.
Okay. I think that Washington State is going to lose this one, and they're going to lose a couple more. I think Boise beats the spread. I'm not going to spend too much time on this just because I mean, just looking at what Washington State has done and the road ahead.
Mhm.
I mean, that San Jose State win, oof. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's not good. Um, yeah, that's not a team that's going to travel to Boise State and beat them. So, I'm going to take Boise State to win this game, beat the
yeah.
spread, and Washington's going to
All
lose a
right,
couple more.
all right. Okay, we
But that was
got
an
two quick
interesting
ones.
theory. That was an interesting theory. I mean, we like the hypotheticals on this show. We like the
Oh yeah, yeah.
hypotheticals.
All right, here's some quick ones.
Mm-hmm.
Utah, Arizona. I got Utah. There's no way
Okay,
Arizona win. I think
Utah,
they're win months.
move it.
Yeah, Oregon, UCLA. I see
Oregon.
Oregon. Yeah, dominating against UCLA. Okay, now here's a question. Texas might be playing Mississippi State, but we're
Oh,
gonna
this is
talk.
interesting. I was like, I thought we skipped that one, but we're coming back for the end, huh?
Yeah. Texas State. I mean, okay, Texas is gonna beat Mississippi State. They have
The
a 39
the
point spread,
score is
but that's
39.
not.
Yeah, the spread is 39.
That's not what I'm trying to say. Texas is going to be Mississippi State. We are all become agreement that Texas will be Mississippi State. There's no
Yeah.
way Mississippi State's coming in this win. Okay,
Yeah.
they're at Texas and not happy. The big
Yeah.
question is, does Arch Manning play or Ewers play? That's the question. Because as of right now, as we're filming this, we do not know if Ewers is playing. We do not know if Arch Manning plays because the coach Steve Sarkisian said that it depends how Urs plays during practice and how he goes about because Urs thinks he's ready, but the coach doesn't see that. He wants to see how he plays. This was statement was like made on Monday. Okay,
Mhm.
so how he progresses, I see Urs coming in.
So,
I
is
think
there a QB battle there if yours is healthy?
no, I don't see it because the way Arch Manning played in the last game, he
Mhm.
did give up two interceptions. But you know what? His whole family, besides Eli Manning, did do good in their first game. Okay, look at them. Look at their future. They did well.
Mhm.
But I'm not going to take that first start game in any consideration. But I think it's a good thing to get him motivated and playing. But I think if Sarkeesian wants Ewers to get back in game shape again. He should play this Mississippi State game, and especially
Mm.
if he's like 90% healthy, 95% healthy. I think he should play this game. I think he should get warm up because he'll have a whole week off after this to rest. Because 95% and you have a whole week off, you should be 100% by the time the game comes. Because you're going to make him out 3 weeks and he's going to be rested coming in Oklahoma. I just don't see that happening. I think Ewers plays against Mississippi State. That way he got the game under his belt. He gets that week break, and he goes into Oklahoma. That's what I think.
All right.
So what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? You think the same thing?
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say about it. I mean, uh, Mississippi State is not very good. I want to
Hmm.
I'm gonna wait until Texas plays OU, Georgia. Maybe even going to
Hmm.
Vanderbilt might be interesting, but
Yeah,
I'm gonna wait
not
until
happening.
OU in Georgia to really start talking Texas. So next
Hmm.
week, going into next week, I'll do more of a deep dive on my thoughts on Texas, my expectations for them
They
moving
don't play.
forward.
Well, I mean, they don't play next week, so it
Oh,
might be.
then
Yeah,
before the Oklahoma game,
yeah.
I
So yeah, okay.
again, I just don't really see Michigan as being that big. I mean, it told us something. It told us that Texas can dominate teams that they should, but I want to see more than that. I'm done with talking about Michigan and Texas. Like we've talked a good amount about that, so I'm ready to see Texas play a legit opponent. So yeah, that's where
They
I'm
did.
at.
They played Michigan. They played Michigan. That's it.
I know.
What
I'm talking about another one.
yeah.
I'm saying I'm
Oh, yeah,
tired of talking about that one. I want to see a different matchup for them, and
but
they've just been
but
playing
but they
nobodies
played the most legit
since
they
then.
placed the most legitimate team over Georgia. Georgia played Clemson, who was a you know,
Georgia also played
and
Kentucky.
the Kentucky, who they should have never gotten that close.
Yeah,
I
but
know they've gotten close.
right, right. But what I'm saying is that Georgia had more interesting games to talk about. Texas had one good game to talk about, and outside of that, they've played nobodies. So it's the same thing of like
Yeah.
sitting here and talking about like Tennessee or Ole Miss when Tennessee has one good game under their belt and Ole Miss has none. So
Hmm.
let's wait until I want to see them go and beat OU and then be like, okay, this is where I think Texas is at. Or if they lose to OU, then I'll be like, whoa, this changes everything. And then if they lose to
Yep.
Georgia after that, wow, we've really changed things. So,
Which
yeah,
is not happening.
let's wait
All
and see
right.
what happens with Texas in a couple weeks.
All right. Let's ring that bell. What do you got to say?
All right. Guys, if you got this far, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our channel, hit that like button, let us know in the comments if our takes are trash, especially that guy over there trying to ring the notification bell for you. Um, it lets you know that our videos come out. And if you enjoyed these takes by this Razorback and that Longhorn over there, please show us love by liking the video and continue following our content. So we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.